Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Nostalgia Unrequited, a podcast where we rekindle our love of pop culture of the past. This is Henry. I'm coming at you live from Osaka, Japan, and right now I'm sipping on some chamomile tea.
Yeah, and this is your boy Joe Lewis, and hailing from Atlanta right now. And right now, I not drinking tea, but I just finished some coffee.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into our favorite 90s sitcom, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That's pretty much everyone's favorite sitcom. I think everyone loves it, but it's creeped back into our lives in a really interesting and fun way with the reunion special that got posted to HBO Max, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and Joe and I had a look, and we watched it, and we're ready to dig deep into it, and we can't wait. So, yeah. So to start off, Joe, what were some of your initial reactions after seeing the reunion special?
My initial reactions were more towards the things that I didn't know, like I didn't
Yeah,
didn't know about the show. And
yeah,
the first one that immediately kind of blew me away was
yeah,
the fact that Will knew everyone's lines.
yeah. That was dope. That was real dope.
And watching the show as a kid growing up, and even now when I revisit some of the episodes, I would never have noticed Will
Yeah,
just sitting alongside other
yeah,
characters, lip syncing their lines. So when they highlighted that, I thought that was pretty dope. I was actually
yeah,
blown. I was like, damn.
yeah. That was dope.
And the story he tells about getting the show and how Quincy invited him into his home, and he was like, well, yeah, I'll take a meeting with Quincy. So yeah, that was interesting for me
Yeah,
to
yeah,
see how the show came to life. That's something that I didn't know.
yeah.
Those moments. What about you?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. My favorite part was, one of my favorite parts was when the guy, the one of the co-creators that works at Quincy was like, yo, it's about me. I'm from Watts, and then I came to Bel Air. Where are you from? He's like, Will's like, I'm from Philly. Okay, show us about a guy from Philly goes to Bel Air. I was like, I mean, easy, yeah, cool, makes sense. I don't know why that struck out to me, but I was like, okay, cool, because essentially it doesn't matter. It's like a non-Bel Air to Bel Air, so like it could be anywhere, right? In a
Yeah.
way. Yeah. So that was cool. No, but not gonna lie, man, I was feeling all the feels during that on Viv talk and during the Uncle Phil tribute and stuff. It was done beautifully and tastefully, and it was just like they didn't linger on too much on it. They didn't not do it enough. It was like the perfect middle ground of bringing in the original actress that played on Viv and paying homage to Uncle Phil, and it was just perfectly executed. Yeah,
Well, a couple of other things I didn't know was that it was filmed in front of a live TV audience.
yeah,
That I
yeah.
didn't know, and the way they sorry, the way they explain like how they used to hype up the audience like
Oh,
it
with
was
the instruments.
yeah, like a performance before the show. That's
Yeah.
dope. Like I would have loved to just sit there and be like somebody who had, yo, I'm going to see the French Prince show, like French, see the recording of the French Prince tonight, right? Like so
Yeah,
that's like
they were saying it was like the hottest ticket in town, like a Friday night ticket, right?
yeah, like you got a ticket to Saturday Night Live, you got a ticket to the Chappelle show, and sometimes you don't recognize that like getting those tickets to these like audience recorded sitcoms is like a double dose of that show in two different aspects because you're in
Yeah,
the audience while they're
yeah,
making it and you get
yeah,
to watch it that way. But
yeah.
it's almost like theatric in a sense. But the other thing that was also dope was and I never knew this. I'm gonna probably go back and pay attention more to this, but Jazz noted that every time he got thrown out of the house, it was the same outfit. So they eventually got to a point where they just, when you saw him coming into the episode that day with that shirt, you knew he was being thrown out the house. So that's dope because
I never realized that either.
never realized that.
Yeah, yeah, that's funny, man. Um, on top of that, the jazz stuff is always funny. I'm getting thrown out, but like, they did a clip where they were talking about that episode where Hilary was being blackmailed by Will and Carlton, like That's just like the funniest thing I've ever seen, you know, like I remember first seeing that when I was 9 or 10 or whatever, and I was thinking like, man,
Yeah,
that is so funny. And I've seen so many amazing comedies since then, Scrubs, The Office, and you know, I can go down the list of all the funny things as TV shows and TV moments, but like nothing beats that moment where Will is blackmailing Hillary and Hillary's venting to Carlton, and Carlton's like, you know, I'm gonna butcher it, but it's like, did he ask you to clean his room? She's like, no, thank God. It's like, will you clean mine? Like that was just perfectly executed the way it was written, and the way that, like, you know, Will
yeah,
think he has this thing on Hillary, but then Carlton knows that he has instructed her to, what was it, hit Will's head, you right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then Hillary's just stuck in both of is stuck in the middle, and Will doesn't understand what she's doing either, and that was phenomenal acting on all three parties, you know.
Yeah, and I think it lends perfectly to the point Will highlighted in the show where, first of all, Carlton looking back on himself and saying like that character should have never made the show, right?
Yeah,
Is interesting, but
yeah,
also um like it it represents why the show was a success because like his character in real life, right? Like I recognize how he kind of broke character to
mhm,
become this guy
yeah, yeah,
that he doesn't even appreciate at his older
mhm,
age. Uh,
mhm,
but I say that to say, like, to go further with that, him and Will, the Will mentioned this as well,
the
like
comedic chemistry,
the
right?
comedic chemistry between the two. So, like, a lot of the moments that, again, the show was written to be like pundits between Uncle
Yeah,
Phil and Will,
right.
but it developed, and this is on like that was my take on it too.
Yeah,
It developed more into a Will and Carlton show.
exactly, exactly, exactly. You know what that kind of reminds me of? You know, Julia White's character, Steve Urkel, was only supposed to be on for 3 episodes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was only contracted to be part of 3 episodes, and like, because he doesn't make an appearance until I recently watched all of season 1 of Family Matters, by the way, and like, he comes in mid-season, and then when he mid-season, like the show just takes on a whole new element, and after those that are run, it's like it felt empty without him, you know, a little different, but like, in the same thing that like sometimes projects and things just like take on a whole new life once you do it, you know.
I think, I mean, and looking back as like an adult on some of these shows and looking how they shot it, I think that what you're saying makes sense. That's probably why he only like his scenes really only involve him coming in and out of that door. So
Right,
like if
right.
they want to cut it, they can cut it
Yeah,
because like they don't got to take
exactly.
it further than that moment in time of
Yeah.
where he came in and out of that door.
You know why I also think the Carlton and Will took over and became the focal point of the show is like, you know, Carlton and Phil, probably from their inception, wanted to represent like that Bel Air life or whatever, you know. But when
Mm,
you juxtapose Uncle Phil to Will, you don't really highlight the juxtaposition and the differences of Philly and Bel Air, because you can just easily chalk that up to age or maturity.
yeah, I agree
Yeah,
with that. I agree with
yeah,
that wholeheartedly.
yeah, and then it's just a show about an old guy and a young guy, and a guy with older, more educated, more sophisticated tastes, and a young, you know, like, you know, whippersnapper just being cool or whatever, right? But when you bring it back to Carlton and Will, it's like the theme is really, really pushed in, you push through, you know, it's like the tone is set, like this guy's from here, this guy's from here, and they're different because they're both high school students.
Yeah, it's also more relatable to
Exactly,
being in
way
that
more relatable.
in that position as a young one.
Right.
You're watching the show, you're
Yeah.
looking at Will as the
Yeah.
character, you're
Yeah.
looking at Will's life
Hmm,
and
hmm,
all
hmm.
that he has to go through. Most of the time,
Yeah.
like he's
Yeah.
coming into his family,
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
aunt's yeah, he's coming
Right.
into his aunt's family.
Right, and feeling like an outsider, and
Yeah,
also the beautiful moments of being included, and you know, and I think the literary genius in juxtaposing those two was that like it actually most of the time showed how similar they were.
Well, yeah, the
Well, right.
similar they take on similar high school issues.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Like it comes from two different worlds, two different aesthetics, but like most of the episodes, like they're both trying to get a date. They're both struggling with girls. They're both going to school. They both have friends. They both are trying to find themselves. They're both trying
Right.
to assert themselves in situations where they can come out on top and be celebrated. You know, like, and they're both making, you know, through their competition and comedic chemistry, they make each other feel bad. You know, I don't mean that in a gross way, but but you know what I mean, right?
Well,
Like
I wouldn't maybe not feel bad, but they definitely influence like they
each other, yeah,
each other. Like, and they say that in the show. Like, there's time. Like by the end of the series, you feel the camaraderie like
yeah,
wholeheartedly, the
yeah,
brotherhood between the two.
yeah,
And even though they came from different walks of life, like they shared the same space and they
yeah.
share a lot of the same tribulations.
Right, right. You know, and it goes to show you that, like, you know, you know, like there's always something to admire in someone else, and it's, and when you're young, that admiration can easily be internalized as, you know, not being good enough or whatever. You know, like Carlton wanted to go on dates like Will. He wanted to be a basketball player like Will, but then Will was, you know, jealous of, you know, sometimes his financial savvy or his ability to just, you know, be composed and put together in certain situations. And they had different moments where they wanted to have what that other person had, or you know.
Right.
And again, those highlights those human moments that you couldn't have done if you stayed with Uncle Phil and Will, you know.
Yeah. I agree. I
Yeah,
mean, I definitely appreciate the Carlton Will uh juxtaposition rather
yeah,
than the other one, because I feel like, I mean, just my assumption, but I feel like that would be more
yeah,
uh it would be more fatherly son, like you
yeah,
said, like
yeah,
that. And I don't know how that show would have turned out. Like every show would have been a lesson from a
yeah,
father to a son
yeah,
type ordeal, but I don't know
yeah,
if I'm here for that.
yeah, yeah, totally, totally, totally. um I wanted to ask you, you know, one thing that that Will Smith said that really struck a chord with me was, he said, you know, he started off saying, unfortunately, this show 30 years later is the issues that they were talking about are still very relevant to this day, you know.
Mhm.
And I think he when he dropped that comment, they sliced in the clips of the episode of them being pulled over by a police officer. They they mentioned they showed the clip with the gun violence, you know,
Mhm.
and some serious stuff there. And what did you think of that comment? What did you think of that? Uh,
Well, yeah, with that, just that clip alone, first of all, right? I
yeah,
I do want to talk about that clip because um it represents two sides of the table without even having to use like color.
yeah,
So um and it's not that I like it, especially because it didn't use color a lot. I'm gonna highlight it from two aspects real quick. One, the aspect of that there is a position that like as a black person, we as black people, we often do feel, we know when we're getting pulled over that
yeah,
we have to and it's by getting pulled over by the cops, right? There's this like there is this thing that we feel immediate sense of fear, right?
yeah,
And for Carlton not to have that,
yeah, yeah,
it's surprising at first,
yeah,
but it's also interesting. And I want to highlight that specifically because it it means like for some of a lot of our for a lot of black people who have made it per se,
yeah,
right? You can't escape those times when you
yeah,
have to be knocked back down to the ground, so to speak,
yeah,
by officers who don't know who you are. And not even if that you did anything or not, you don't deserve that level of treatment.
hmm,
But because of your skin color, you're you're automatically placed into a category
hmm,
that you're not, that you weren't aware that
hmm,
was existed. And that's the
hmm,
one aspect of it where you're Carlton and you see the world as the world everybody else, right? And you're like, well, yeah, guys, this is the best thing that could have happened.
Yeah.
He's gonna help us, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the police's job to serve. But in the second lane, now you see Will. Will offers the perspective that I highlighted at first, right? Perspective that we all come to know, that when the cops pull us over, that's done. Like that could be the end of our lives right there. So,
Mhm.
and for Will to have that and have that sitting in the same car and have that be shown, right? I would hope that people see that and get those two perspectives, because it's worth noting that we as people, Black people, would like to feel like a Carlton. We would like to
Mhm.
feel like
That's deep, man.
like um
It,
oh
it
yeah, police are our
it would
friends.
it would be fantastic if the sentiment that Carlton was presenting wasn't outlandish.
Yeah,
It'd be great if that was the norm, right?
if that was the one.
It'd be fantastic that that the way Carlton reacted was normal and justified, right?
Right. And
But
that's
but
why I like the fact that
but that why that scene was so poignant is because it's clear to everyone involved and everyone watching and the whole world seeing it. They're like, no, that is not how you should be feeling right now, Carlton. And that's where
yeah,
the heartbreak comes in. That's where the sadness comes in. And again, unfortunately,
that's the relation to today.
is it right? It's still like that today.
But that's also why I like that scene and the fact that it's Carlton doing that and not a white person. If it was
Yeah,
Will and a white person in the
right.
car, I don't think we would ever be able to get that second perspective that I've just
Right.
offered, right? Because
Yeah,
of course it makes sense that a white person feels like that. So you don't
sure.
deep dive into why a white person feels that privilege, but
Right.
there but having both Black people in the car and different perspectives is representative of another angle that we do struggle with, being the angle that we do want to live like that. We do want to have that feeling that Carlton has, but we just can't. And then there's moments and times where fortunately, a lot of us know that, even as we ascend the ranks in life,
Yeah,
we still have the ability to be unfortunately I'm not going to say kicked back down, I'm just going to say mislabeled, because that
sure.
doesn't they shouldn't take away our achievements, but that's just the fact of the matter.
What do you think of the ending of that Palm Springs episode? When Uncle Phil and his partner, the white lawyer dude, like get Will and Carlton out, and they get back home and stuff. Like, I don't remember. I can't, of course, quote the exact exchange, but like, you know, Carlton asks his Uncle Phil, his dad, like, yo, like, did they pull me over because the license plate was blah 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 and there was a crime? That's why, right? It's not because I'm black, right? And Uncle Phil, remember his response was like, yeah, I asked myself the same thing the first time I got pulled over. You remember that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was again this kind of like this bursting of his bubble. You know what I mean? You're we're watching before our eyes this his idealism of the world um disappear, vanish, shatter. And that was really really profound for me to witness when I first saw that episode and to revisit in the reunion. What did you think of how it ended, that episode, that closing scene?
For a while, I always felt like, and I'm still like torn on how to feel about it, but I get it. But I like the ending, but to me, and this is just because I know that's how it goes down. Like the cop, when you get pulled over by the cops, I, but I sometimes I just don't understand Carlton's naivety,
Oh,
naivety.
yeah,
Uh, in
yeah,
a sense,
yeah.
it's almost childlike, and that's and not that I don't like that, but that's what makes it interesting. It's as if he's a
You know,
5 year old, huh?
his 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 uh his sense of naivety is his disillusionment, his disconnection seems disingenuous and not authentic as a Black American character, but
Right.
Carl-
Because
but Carlton is the vessel for the mass audience, right? You see what I mean?
indirectly, because
Yeah, because like so,
that's what you recognize at the end at over time, that he's
right.
taken on this perspective of
The ge-
highlighting, like, why did that, like, he had to exist for the conversation
exactly.
to be
Uh,
whole.
Yeah, so that's the kind of the genius of Carlton, is that the running joke of Carlton, and for a lot of episodes, is that he wasn't Black enough, or he wasn't, strong enough, or whatever. And if you look at it in a perspective, like, if you take it a literal, like, how could a educated, smart, Black American male live to that age and still feel that way? Well,
Right.
actually, it's not that. Actually, he's actually there as a vessel to bring along everyone in the world that is not understanding of Black American issues. So it could be white, could be Asian, could be anything. Just anyone who is not from that world. You could come in via Carlton.
Yeah, I agree with that perspective. That's one
Yeah,
way I didn't look at it before, but I do. That does make sense. Yeah,
yeah.
but that's exactly why what you just said, right? Someone who's that educated, that smart, right? It never really made sense to me how you could be so aloof.
How you could, right? Like, how could you be, what is he in the show? Probably 16, 17, right? How could you be 16, 17 and still not, but so in that way, you're just like, really? But at the same time, he is more than that. He is a vessel. He is a window for them to come through into this world.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. If the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was written in 2020, in this crazy chaotic year, with all the social unrest going on, what is something that do you think Will and the writers and the cast would have wanted to do an episode on that they did not do an episode on back then?
That's a good question. Uh, I don't think it's gonna. I'm not gonna say healthcare. I don't think they would have weaved that in there. But
Is the obvious one that we can't ignore? Would it be police brutality, right?
well, yeah, but I think they touched on that. So if they're remaking a show for 2020, are you? Is the question more with what new idea would they include from 2020, or what does in general? Because I mean, I
I
think
I,
they
I
touched
guess
on
I
police
guess
brutality in the show.
I guess if I was to answer my own question, is they didn't do an episode on police brutality directly, and since that was a big issue and discussion point in 2020, I feel like if the Fresh Prince was around now, they would do a direct episode about that, right?
Yeah, I mean, they would probably have an episode where Will was getting beat down, I guess. But I, from what,
And that led to my next question. Okay, let's explore my answer there with the police brutality, right? How would you write that episode? Would you do it via Will, with him getting, or would you do it with his friend, or would you do it with Jazz? I think, if I'm just riffing here, I think it would have to happen to a Jazz, someone that's not Will and Carlton, so you could juxtapose the two different ideas, right? So, or it just happens on TV, right? There's a police brutality in the room, and then Carlton will be like, oh, like, say something in defense of the LAPD or something, and then Will will be like, are you kidding me? And that's how I see that episode working out in 2020.
I think it would. I think it would be more of a Jazz thing for sure. Um, and that's probably why I'm struggling with the idea of the episode, because Will, it can't be Will or Carlton, because that's
They're
almost too extreme for any one of their characters, in the sense, because
exactly, and they're the storytellers, right? They're the two people that push the dialogue, right?
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, but
I have another idea. This is not just 2020 related, but it kind of is, in the sense that, like, we're in a really PC culture these days, and young millennials and online dating is around. I think there'd be an episode about multiracial dating,
Mm-hmm.
and it'd probably be with Ashley or or Hillary or something like that, and yeah, and that idea of this, you know, I feel like, well, yeah, yeah, that what do you think of that?
Like interracial dating.
Yeah,
Um,
because they didn't really touch on that either.
yeah, I mean they haven't touched on interracial relationships in this show at all. Um, and as far as what I would think about that, I mean it would be a different aspect. It would be
I'm
surprising.
wrong.
I don't know if it would
I'm
be
wrong. They
2020. I
did.
don't know if it'd be.
Remember Will's aunt dated that dude from dated a white dude.
Well, I mean, was she reliving was she just reminiscing?
No, remember? Um, remember Will's mom and Aunt Viv and all the sisters come together, and she brings the boyfriend home, and it's a white dude, and that creates a huge problem. So I'm totally wrong. There was an episode about that, and that was a really good one too.
But Will's aunt was married to Uncle Phil.
No, there was another aunt who brought a white boyfriend home. Remember? And Will's mom didn't want to go to the wedding because he was a white dude.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember that episode now.
Yeah, so there was one. I totally forgot about that. So yeah, they did do an episode about it, and it was incredible. That was a really good episode.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of why I'm highlighting that. I don't know if that would. It was good. I think it would have been good, but I don't think that would have been 2020 because that's something
What?
that's not
That's
something
true.
unique to 2020. But yeah,
That's true.
but 2020, I think along the aspect of the virtual piece, right? I think I think in the comedic sense, they could have found a way to do something around uh, voting,
Mm.
um, and why it matters. I think that if you break that down, uh, there's a lesson to be learned there, in a way. So it could have done a episode around voting where probably Will doesn't want to vote, and it'd probably be very similar to the Malcolm X episode,
Mm.
but instead of it being one where Will is like like pro
Yeah.
pro movement, he would just be anti movement or anti well, I think it could probably even be someone like uh Hillary being anti, like I think I'm not sure how it would be written in, but somebody in that household would have to be anti-voting. But
Right.
I think a lot of the characters lend themselves to being coming like enlightened. Like Hillary could be one that would be like, okay, like we gotta vote because of like I gotta vote. Like she could be the one that could be turned. Uh,
I could also see her being the one that is voting, but does it just because to get the badge, to be like, I voted, to get the sticker or something,
yeah,
that because she's such a trend chaser, right?
right. That's my point. Like that's where I feel like she could be the one where like she's the one that gets flipped from like not voting to voting because of the trend. Like and to look at it and to look at those different reasons why everybody is voting
Yeah.
would
Right.
would be interesting
Sure.
to pick
Sure.
apart.
And another amazing part of the series, the reunion episode was the two Aunt Vivs meeting and the discussion about Will and the original Aunt Viv, and I'm forgetting her name right now, and the actress, and yeah, that was really emotional, man. What'd you think of that? And
Yeah,
what
Janet.
and yeah. What did you think?
For me, I think the changing of Aunt Viv's was a key moment in the show in general. Just that the and Will said this too, like the Aunt Viv, the previous Aunt Viv, right? Both black, right? But the previous Aunt Viv was I'm gonna say in the words of Nas, she was ultra black, right? she was ultra black. The way she carried herself, not taken away from the second on Viv, but she walked around with a chip on her shoulder,
Mhm.
and she wanted that respect in all walks of her life. When she tried to get the job as a professor, right? When she was taking the dance, when she was showing up the people at the dance class, right? You could see that chip on the shoulder, and
Right.
then to see actually how it played out for her in her real life, right? As a chip on her shoulder, right? It was sad almost, because not sad almost, but it was just sad because you recognize that a couple things. One, her being black, right? Without her even having to act, there's an already assumed chip on the shoulder. So she lived that as she played it in the show very
Right.
perfectly, right?
Right.
And then to get get fired from the show, she, even though she in real life, she they another added this added more on to the chip on her shoulder, right? She was then just blackballed from the industry. And to think that that's something that in that point in time in Hollywood, and even today, right, when you get blackballed and you try to find other work, and you're pregnant and you're going through marital issues, it's like it separates you from a lot. Like, that show went on to be so very successful,
Mhm.
and I don't know what she went back to, but it almost feels like, well, okay, you went back to living the life of as a like a regular household person.
Sure. So
Meanwhile,
you clearly, it sounds to me like you definitely enjoy or appreciated or connected with the first iteration of Aunt Viv and that representation more than the second actress that played her, right?
yeah, I think the second actress was good, but
She was
she played the more
she was a
internal.
motherly figure, a
Yeah,
motherly
she
figure.
played a more internal role, more
Yeah.
motherly, in the sense that
Yeah.
that I'm gonna it's an interesting motherly role, because a black mother would act like, not to take, again, not taking away anything from the second on Viv, but they're black, both acted like black mothers, right? And just that you don't get, and maybe it's just because of, again, this aspect of colorism here, right?
Oh, really?
And when you see
Wow.
a light skinned um, person versus a dark skinned person, it's and the way it was set up too as well, it makes sense that
That the
she
second
was
Aunt Viv was more gentle, right? Was more
right,
docile, was
right,
more just at home, right?
yeah. Especially if the way, I'm assuming they set that up, because the other Aunt Viv's personal character was bleeding into it too much, but that bleed, right, is actually authentic and not disingenuous, and it's actually wasn't disrupt it was disruptive, but it was necessary. And uh they've done this in the past before, um when in shows like Good Times, right, where the father, he had to die in an episode so they could write him off the show, um just because he was also being difficult, and
Yeah.
right, and that
And
idea,
was he a dark skin actor?
yeah.
Or
And
okay.
I think I don't want to. keep it on the dark skin aspect, but there is definitely a dark skin aspect when it comes to role picking
Yeah.
and the reception of the audience,
Yeah.
and it influences even black people as well. Like even people would prefer to date. Some there's people that prefer to date a light skinned black girl,
Yeah. Yeah.
even as a black person. But I think another thing, that's one last thing to think about there in the two on Vivs is just like even today, right? Um, that still exists,
Yeah.
and it's sad that like that gets taken on for difficult and not passion. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think people are starting
Yeah.
to recognize now that black difficulty is really black passion, and it's a passion to live, or a passion to like express, to
Yeah.
be, it's a passion to be appreciated, it's a passion to be respected, it's a
Yeah.
passion to be, to show that, hey, I'm here to
Yeah.
represent.
You know, what you're saying is so spot on, and it's what you're saying is 100% true and accurate, and you see it in other disciplines. Like when a black wide receiver is is angry and upset, he's a bad teammate, he is being disruptive. But oftentimes if a white QB is getting into someone's face, he's impassioned and trying to inspire the team, right? It's like, what?
Right.
It's that same thing. And you mentioned colorism stuff, and that colorism is, for me, sometimes I feel like colorism is worse than racism, because colorism is oftentimes executed in a way where it's people within the same ethnicity is being prejudiced to each other, amongst each other. And
Yeah.
I'll say this, I because I don't want to tarnish or stain and anything the second on Viv did, because I think she's appreciated and enjoyed and respected and valued for the contribution she's done to the show. And it's great, and she was fantastic. I think the only thing that makes me sad is that and this exists in so many disciplines, and it has happened in so many ways, but it's like, back to colorism, it's like, oh, okay, so a dark skinned woman is out. Okay, so what's next? It's a light skinned woman now. And like it's always like the 2.0 has to, you always have to get lighter or something. Like that's supposed to be the updated, the newer version.
Yeah, I mean,
And
like,
I think and then that exists in a lot of ways. Throughout,
intentional or not, like
intentional
intentional,
or not,
we
exactly.
don't
It's
we
always like,
it feels, and if we will never know. I mean, it
yeah.
feels very intentional every
And
time.
as a diehard basketball fans who are followers, will know, I see this a lot in the NBA. When a black coach is fired, it's often a white coach takes over for him.
Yeah.
And when a white coach is fired, there's always like an interim coach, and it's oftentimes a black coach.
Hmm.
You see what I mean? Like very rarely is like a black white coach fired and then a black guy comes in. Like there's examples. Doc Rivers took over the 76ers a season, and last year there was Brett Brown. So yeah, but there's so many times like a JJ Bickerstaff, or all these coaches where like a white coach is fired and then you put in a black guy as the interim coach. Oh, Jacques Vaughn last season, he was the interim coach of the Brooklyn Nets. Oh, until we find Steve Nash, let's throw him in there. You,
Mhm.
you see what I mean? And so, the it's really sticky here, because I don't want to, because all of these actors and actresses and basketball coaches that we're mentioning, they have so much credibility to them. They have so much education and experience. So I don't want to dilute it into the skin tone and the skin color. But we talked about this oftentimes with colorism. It's when you're replacing another, when you're following someone else, it's hard to not notice that this the color of your skin, the tone of your skin. is this, are you presented as the updated, the 2.0, the better version? What does that mean? Yeah,
Mhm.
it's tough. It's tough, and it's a slippery slope. And yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a slippery slope. Uh, I think it's definitely la it's definitely more about the emotions that get subliminally invoked when
yeah,
that happens,
yeah,
and that's
yeah,
why this is a big conversation.
yeah.
But yeah,
Cool. Yeah, and this is why we love the Fresh Prince, because it allowed us to look at issues of racism, colorism, of social injustices and stuff, and so many things, and family relations. But another reason why we love the show is straight up fashion. You know, just years later, Complex and all these fashion magazines, GQ will compile lists every so often about best outfits, best sneaker moments, best everything, and everyone across the board, had so many unique, dope looks, and let's take some time and break down our favorite looks. I want to show our viewers what we have. Joe and I, we picked out some of our favorite fashion moments from the show.
yeah. You want to kick it off?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, so I guess you have a list, and then I have a list as well of our favorite outfits. And I guess I'll start off. My first favorite outfit from the show is this interesting one where it's Will wearing like a crop top t-shirt cut open to show the stomach, which I'm not a fan of that. But even though Kid Cudi has done that, but why I picked this outfit is I
Yeah, I want
love
to know why you picked this one.
yeah, I love sports, and yeah, this. We're both diehard sports fans, and I love like geography, and I love like cultures and things like that. And a huge part of Will Smith's character was him represent Philly,
Right.
and he was not from LA. He was not from Bel Air, and he is a Philadelphia transplant. By the way, our viewers should know you're a Philly boy yourself.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
That is true.
and here he has the 76ers shirt. He has the Eagles shorts, you know, and I can't tell what that hat is. Possibly Phillies
Flyers. That's
Flyers or
that's
something like
one of the
that. Yeah, yeah. And so that,
Flyers.
for me, this is a dope fashion one for me, because him being from Philly was such a big thing, and this outfit head to toe was a physical representation of, like, I'm from Philly. And so I just love that he's putting on for his town. I love that he's putting on for his city. And yeah, that's why I think that outfit is just so fly, man.
Yeah. I've in my revisiting of outfits and trying to pick my top five. I are my top Will outfits. This one came up a lot in other people's top fives, and I was just like,
Yep.
it's not my top five, but
Uh, yeah.
I was just wondering that opinion. So that makes sense.
Yep.
That's an interesting angle why I would pick, but I definitely, like you said, wouldn't wear that.
Yeah, yeah. Me either. Me either.
But you recognize that among and other outfits were very prevalent in that time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it just speaks to also that I love vintage sports logos, and we all do. Like, vintage sport logos are all back in a big way. And sports logos were so fun in the 90s and late 80s, early 90s. They were so bold, so colorful, and yeah. And so
Mhm.
yeah, I love that. Anyway, what's your first choice?
My first choice was, I mean, well, no specific order, but
Yeah.
uh, Will's suit jacket.
Oh
I
yeah.
think in the show it was one of the
So
first
fly, man.
times where you see where Will had to make everything his own, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
They they go to the school and everybody's jacket is the typical navy blue, but he comes in
Mhm.
here with, I don't know what kind of pattern that is, but
Yeah. Yeah.
um, it almost feels very Biggie-ish in a sense where
Hmm. Hmm. Like
like
a Coogi sweater.
yeah, well yeah, it's like a Coogee sweater, but I don't think it's Coogee. But
No, no, no.
whatever it is,
Mhm,
it's very loud, and
mhm.
it's very in itself, it's representation of hip hop, right?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I'm just gonna step on the toes of
Yep,
something and flip it and make it look like this.
yep, yep. I love that. Such an iconic moment in the show where he turns the jacket inside out.
Yeah.
Yo, yo. My second choice, this photo, well, first Will is fly in this photo too. I mean, that look is so on now. People are wearing light wash denim like that. People are tucking their shirts, and that 90s stripe shirt is back. But actually, this is my favorite Carlton outfit. And I think this is the perfect Carlton outfit that sums up what this character was going for. This very you know, tennis grounded attire.
Mm,
And this was very, very, very representative of his aesthetic. Well, first and foremost, I love the deep V. I love when it comes to V-neck sweaters, I love V-neck sweaters that have the two like tennis polo outline. It's very tasteful, it's very classy, and it's very like a vintage Ralph Lauren, very vintage like Tommy Hilfiger. I love that. And I also love the short shorts. The above the knee shorts are very, very in right now in so many ways. And Carlton's rocking them here. Brands like Kith, brands um like what's the name of them?
hundreds. I just bought a pair on all the shorts that I've been buying. They just whenever like I get them in my size, and
Yeah,
I recognize that
yeah.
they just always end up above the knee. And
Exactly, exactly, exactly. And that above the knee thing is now a very like modern athletic and hip hop or streetwear look, but actually that above the knee short is very much grounded in the like a tennis look. That prep tennis aesthetic. And this is where it all started from there. I'm gonna say Aim Leon Dore. Aim Leon Dore is another big brand that if you look at all their outfits, their models for all the latest drops have all been this outfit: long outerwear, hoodie, sweater, something over, and then juxtaposed with the short shorts. And
yeah,
so that is my favorite Carlton outfit. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's not. It's a fit in the sense that if done right, I I find myself doing the same thing sometimes, like
yeah,
the shorts and then the
yeah,
sweater.
yeah,
But like if I think about his outfit specifically, that would be something definitely I would rock. Like if I was going, like you said, playing tennis or
yeah,
just hanging out.
yeah,
After like I've even like right now I got on shorts and this the hoodie, but it's short sleeve. But I could flip this into a long sleeve easily. So it's like you look at that outfit and I'm gonna say like sometimes you're immediately turned off, but
yeah,
but I can't tell you how many times I catch myself actually wearing something very similar to that, and
yeah,
that's just because it makes sense, and it's also the say byproduct of the times.
yeah, yeah. Cool. What you got next?
But yeah, me next one I got is uh let's go to Carlton. Since you went to Carlton, uh I got the C note outfit.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
C note outfit. So when
That,
Carlton, an episode when Carlton,
that's a really good episode.
right, he moved out for a bit and he was just like, nah, I'm gonna kick it here. He meets Will's friends. He goes with Will, right? I believe he was I forgot
Yep,
why he went with Will, but he goes
yep.
there. He was real scared at the moment, but he gets in there. He starts helping people with their taxes and their
First, first off, that nickname is amazing. C note,
yeah,
and he does people's accounting, right?
yeah, exactly, right. No money, but yeah,
Yep.
he he gets in there and he just
Yeah,
basically becomes like the boss,
yeah,
and Will becomes this character now where he's like, what the hell just happened here? You don't,
yeah.
this ain't your life. So,
Mhm.
but to focus more on the outfit though, uh, it looks like something that
He looks like a pirate.
it looks like something again. Well, I'm ignoring the headband. I'm just the shirt. for
Yeah.
me that I like here in this situation, right? I like two artists that this reminds me of. Aaron Kai. I don't know if you know Aaron Kai. He
Okay.
does he
I
does a
don't know.
lot of stuff with waves, um,
Mm.
and those colors. And then, uh, interestingly enough, also when I without if I take a quick look, it looks like something that Cause could have been
It
involved.
looks so much like Cause when you just take a quick glance.
Yeah, it looks like something that Cause could have been involved
And
in.
you know, I why I love this too is like color blocking was such a huge thing in the 90s, and you see it in Carlton and Will and everyone, whether you're a prep fashion guy or like a more like, sporty kind of guy or whatever, but color blocking was huge. This does color blocking in a very unique way.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. What do you think? I can't do it, but what do you think of the button-up shirt all the way with the chains over it? The
I mean,
people
I
are doing
think
it now. I
that's
I
that's the
can't do it,
part
but
that had to be authentic for Carlton,
yep.
right? Like, of course, he's going to button his shirt all the way up to the top.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they did that. Like, of course, he's going to do that. I mean, like you said, you would never do it. I wouldn't. I think I may have done it if I was Carlton as well. Like, it's that very much like it's when you do it, you're trying to rep. You are trying to. It's like almost it's almost as
Yeah.
relatable to the
Sure.
collar flip up being like
Yeah, yeah,
being bro-ish.
yeah. On to my next one. Speaking of color blocking, is the Will outfit wearing the vertical striped T-shirt. Again, this is just 90s color blocking at its finest on full display. This is so 90s. It's so a Tribe Called Quest. It's so, you know, um, vintage Nickelodeon, My Brother and Me. It's so
Oh
just
yeah.
it's so Saved by the Bell. It's so Boy Meets World. It's everything. It's every 90s sitcom, every 90s show. It's so Martin. It's so everything. It's just everything you love about the 90s is in this shirt. And the unabashed use of color and the snapback, so I guess not a snapback, but it's a, but like, yeah, anyway, everything about this outfit is screams 90s and I love it.
No, I'm glad you found this one because I this one that I couldn't find and I like this one. Uh, the hat is dope for sure. I wish I
Roots LA, that's dope.
could find a hat like that, but yeah, those colors, and the way that they do it in stripes, I definitely rock that today even.
Dude, I
And
literally,
it
I
reminds
bet
me
you the
of
both of us,
the huh?
we had shirts like this when we were kids, man, straight up.
Yeah.
I
I think
wore
I have
stuff like this as a kid.
I think I even I don't have any shirts like this now, but I would wear a shirt like this now. But to highlight one more thing though on this shirt, you said it's funny you mentioned Tribe Called Quest. It looks like it doesn't have the same colors
No.
as the what album is that?
Yeah, yeah.
I know what album I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but their second album. What album is that?
Are you talking about Midnight Marauders?
Not Midnight Marauders.
The Instinctive Travels of Paths and Rhythm?
Uh,
Low End Theory.
Low End Theory, yes. Yes.
Yeah, it has that vibe. Not exactly, but for sure, right?
Yeah. Sorry, no. My bad. It is Midnight Marauders.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's both. It's Low End Theory and Midnight Marauders. They both have that similar. It's kind
Oh
of
yeah. They both do that. I was thinking about Low End Theory though. I was thinking about Low End Theory, but they both do that. I forgot the Midnight Marauders cover. I was thinking about Low End Theory, but yeah, and then they bring that back on their on their most recent album as well.
Yep. Nice.
But yeah,
Cool. What's next?
yeah. So the next one that I liked was if we staying on the aspect of color blocking, I would say Will's Malcolm X jacket was fly to me.
So fly, dude.
Can't see all the angles from the picture here, but but on watching the episode, I like the fact that there was the badge here. They had the badge, Malcolm X badge here, and they also had a picture on the back. But there's a lot of things going on here, and it's very, very like today. It's something that would be very like custom made, almost like DIY. It would give off that type of feel, but it had the sleeves that were color patched, but then the body of the jacket was ribbed, right? So it was like almost like leathery in a sense, but then the sleeve was cloth, right? It was knit. And then you got a patch on the back and you got a patch here. Again, it's almost very DIY-ish in today's sense, but in that regard, it's like it's just like it's very colorful and very different layers, but representative of that time.
No doubt. It's real dope. My next look is this Will outfit here, where Will was very sporty, really trendy, but he also had outfits to go out and look presentable in, like on a date or at a restaurant or whatever. And even when he had those moments, he always did it his way. And this is such a 90s shirt. It's buttoned up all the way, but it's not. It's like kind of loose fitting, but it's still doing the color blocking. But back in 92, 93, like this is something you would wear to a bar, to a club, to a restaurant, to a dinner party or something. And I love that this is the perfect balance of a formal menswear attire and a smart evening look, but it still has that 90s nostalgia, that hip hop, that Tribe Called Quest color blocking. It's kind of like, it's so, it's real dope. I like this because it blends both worlds together there. I really like this one.
Yeah, it has a very Miami Vice.
Yeah, it kind of does. It has a Miami thing to it a little bit.
Miami Vice type look and feel to it, where if you had a night out in Miami in the 70s and 80s,
it looked like this, right?
That's something that like a drug lord would be wearing. But yeah,
you know what's funny? We're both fans of Narcos. It looks like something you would wear, like a narco would wear.
Yeah, and that's.
You want to know something? You want to know something that I also really enjoy about Will's fashion, and just going through what Will and Carlton in the 90s is, the 90s was the fit was much looser.
Yeah.
And we're slowly getting back there now. Nowadays people are wearing like big loose jeans are back in. Girls are wearing them, guys are wearing them, loose overalls are back in. So we're getting back there. But for a while it was very much like, post Kanye was skinny jeans, skinny fit, looking slim, looking tight. And what I love is this freedom. Like, look at Will's shirt. Like, that's clearly like, and if we're judging not modern times, but maybe like 2-3 years ago, you would say like it's too big or something. But I love that loose kind of fit. Of like, if you look at all the outfits of Tribe Called Quest and any outfit at the time, if you look at this, like, it's his nice shirt, right? "Quote unquote nice shirt," but it's still loose. It's still like free, and I love that loose fit in the 90s, man. So yeah, well, I'm sorry to cut you off there, but yeah.
No. I was just saying that it's interesting that a lot of hip hop, right, has always had colorful moments.
Yes.
Even, and it's interesting. I say it's interesting because it presents even like there was a period of time where I feel like it probably died out when Rockefeller, I would say it died in 96 to 2003. In a sense, it became more subdued when you had brands like Sean John and Rockaware being the go-to. But if you look before that and you look after that, especially today too, with some of the things that the Migos will walk around and wear, but even before, like the 96 era and even back in golden hip hop, you look at some of the stuff Big Daddy Kane would wear and some of the stuff that Biggie would wear. It was super loud. So I mean, I'm pretty sure that there's moments in the in the late 90s, 2000s where it was loud as well. But the now and the before of the late 90s, you could see where that look would be very much today still.
Totally. What you got?
But yeah, my next one I got similar. It's not similar, but yeah, from Carlton's perspective, very similar.
Yeah.
So very
Yeah.
again, it's a dress shirt and
It's nice. It's presentable.
it's presentable, but
But it still has that 90s color, that
yeah,
90s energy.
has colors coming down there.
I
This
want
one
that
though
now. I
it's a little
want
bit
this
more
shirt so bad.
subdued. Yeah, it's like something that a Tommy Hilfiger could pull off in a sense.
It's such a yeah.
Nowadays, like, and people would go pick it up, or even a Polo could pull this off. And that's
So
probably is a
you got to understand how genius his pick is, man. Will is going out, right, to a club, to a dinner, something, right, and he has a color blocking nice shirt. Carlton is a very academic, very like business casual, this very educational look, and it still has color blocking, right? And then you wear the t-shirt, just a t-shirt, and with jeans to the grocery store, that has color blocking. I love that. Whether you were an academic look like Carlton or the Will going out in Miami or whatever, color was celebrated in the 90s, man. That's why I love this list, this list we put together,
Yeah, color blocking is definitely in a lot of the picks that we have here.
Yeah, and do you see what I'm saying? Like the color blocking transcends, just a realm. It's not like color blocking.
It's a t-shirt.
No.
It's across all realms of your fits, like t-shirts, sweaters,
Like
shirts.
for work, for school, for going out, for chilling with your boys. Like it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Yeah, and I almost would want to know why that died in the workplace, but that's another conversation for another day.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my next one. Do you have another one?
Oh, of course, man. My next one is my last one, and it's Will wearing the loudest outfit I've ever seen in my life. It's this bright green socks, these purple shorts with a dog on it, and this crazy striped print shirt, and this crazy hat. And why I love this outfit is, one, t-shirt is oversized, very loose, shorts loose, hat to the side, all crazy. And why I love this is like it's so free. It's literally so free. No coordination whatsoever. None of it is. It's very nonsensical and it's very loud, but it just looks so natural on him. You know,
Yeah,
and growing up in our generation, growing up in the 2000s and late 90s, when we start forming our style, like coordination was really big for our generation. You know what I mean? Like coordinate the throwback with the sneakers. You know what I mean? And then when styles got a little more hipster, we're trying to put the things together that make sense, the skinny jean or the sweater or whatever. But literally, Will wanted something that just did not match. And because none of it matched, it matches. And I love this freedom in this picture. Yeah.
yeah. I think it matches in the sense where it's if you see that outfit, you know who wears it, type
Yes.
vibe. And
Yes.
personally speaking,
Yeah.
I've done this, like I do this all the time.
Your style is very much like this. You match in this way. I know that I've known you for a decade now, man, and the way you put outfits together is very much in this spirit. And
Yeah,
and
just
and that's one thing I always admire about your style is you will put on like striped shorts with a plaid shirt or something like this, and that's something about you that's super 90s. And I can't necessarily do that, and I don't necessarily do it, and that's why I admire you for doing it and why I picked this outfit.
yeah. I definitely I even to this day, I'll just grab like an oversized 2X basketball jersey, right?
Right.
And then throw on a
Yeah.
pair of regular shorts, and that makes no like people I hang out when I go hang out with like people. I was like, why are you doing that right now?
And
Is that a dress? And
you're like,
nah, it's
why
not a
not,
dress.
right?
It's just that I just don't it's not a lot of times for me, it's not even an intentional style I'm trying to chase.
Right.
I just do it because I want to do it. I go to the store, Tracy McGrady jersey is there, and
Yeah.
it's the only got it in 2X, so I'm gonna get it because I want it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to get my size, so I get it, and and it just comes out that way.
And Will had such a element of freedom like that, and you pair your outfits that way too, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No doubt, no doubt.
But my next one is I got a couple more, I believe. Uh, actually,
I think
no,
this is
I got one more. I got one more. Got one
yeah,
more.
this is it, right?
It's my last one. Yeah. Uh,
Yep.
and with Will, but also it's a couple things happening here. I wanted to tie in the Great Fives.
This picture has been celebrated and posted on so many sneaker accounts, on
Yeah,
like Sneaker Freaks and Complex and stuff. Like this pic is legendary, man.
yeah, but there's a lot going on here. But the Great Fives, one being iconic shoe of the whole series,
It
right?
really is.
Um,
It really is.
and the color, the two distinct colors, right? The aqua color and the purple color in
Yep.
this episode
Yep.
actually do match his outfit. There's a lot of episodes where he's wearing the Great Fives and they don't match with anything.
Right.
This time they definitely do match with his outfit that he got on. That would be something that I would wear.
Yep.
Like the way the
You ever
logo
owned a
is now.
pair of Great Fives, by the way?
Yeah, I think I did, but they probably were knockoff. But yeah, they definitely were knockoff. But because I definitely don't have them today. And I tried to get them when they came back on a re-release, but
What year was that?
when they came back out,
Yeah.
I think they did them. Let's find out.
It wasn't that long ago, right?
Yeah, it wasn't, but nowadays, not that long ago is very long ago. I've come to realize things that I thought was last year is really like
Yeah.
5 years ago.
Yeah. By the way, dude, check this out, man. In Japan, you can get even instant wonton soup, dude.
Why am I not surprised?
Like, bro, look at this. When you open it, there was dehydrated dumplings, man. Look at
Yeah,
that.
2013. Dehydrated. Yeah, that's dope.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, 2013. So yeah, it's and it depends on what you think is recently, but 2013 was when
Yeah.
it came out.
Gotcha.
But yeah, this outfit here, it's interesting that's Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
Didn't know that actually until
And they mentioned
yesterday.
in the
Yeah, but his shirt is dope as well.
dude, the shirt is dope. And I swear I had a pair of pants like that when I was like 3. There's like a picture of me as a toddler wearing those kind of, I don't know what you call it, but it's like really loud and baggy and print all over pants, man. Like,
Yeah.
I have hair just like that, dude.
Well, yeah. I mean, the pants like that right now would be very pajama-ish.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've gone outside and taken days with. I have this picture. I'm gonna post it right here.
Yeah.
For everybody to see in this episode. But I have this outfit that I wore to a Christmas party 3 years ago. And you'll see why it's very 90s.
Yeah. That's dope, man. Yeah, so those are some dope outfits, man. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think if but you know, there are so many cool fashion moments throughout the show, and but those are some of our favorite, man. So that was cool, dude. That was cool, man. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, any other things you want to recap on the show? Like anything that you want to wrap up with? What else did you like? Just key moments you took away from the reunion episode and the original show?
Yeah, yeah. I think for me, if there is a closing point that you know that I would want to end with is that like um you know the whole concept behind our podcast is to celebrate pop culture of the past and to look at it with a modern take with new eyes and stuff and if there's anything that stands out to me especially is yes, it was sad that unfortunately the social issues that were addressed are still relevant today, but if we can take it to a more positive note, the 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 life lessons that were applied in the show are relevant today too. You know, themes of acceptance, of self acceptance, themes of support and friendship are still relevant. And um, even though Fresh Prince was such a time capsule of everything cool and trendy and it in the 90s, it's timeless. It's a
Yes.
really timeless show, man. You know, and there's so many timeless moments. Do you remember where like what to me such an important moment in Carlton's life in our character was, do you remember he's trying to join the all black fraternity, and the all black fraternity decided from day one that he will not be joining, but they're just basically bullying him for not being what their image of what a black person should be, you know.
Hmm.
And there was a big moment where he's like, you know, I'm like this, but you know, a black person can be that and can be this, you know. And Will had similar moments like that. Do you remember where he had the braids in his hair, where he came back from Philly and he was judged for having, you know, kind of outlandish hair or whatever
Yeah.
Uncle Phil decided it was, you know. And you know, I'm gonna end with like, yeah, even though it was such a unique time capsule of the 90s, the life lessons, the writing, the concepts were not 90s exclusive. It was so timeless, and it's still prevalent today, and that's the genius of the show, man. So that's one big thing I wanted to end with. How about you, man?
Yeah. In closing, for me, I definitely agree with that timeless aspect.
Yeah.
The show was definitely, it transcends that time, and to hear people talk about it today as if they're seeing it for the first time,
Mhm.
and they're showing it to kids of today, and they're taking on the same lessons that we're taking on. Sad in certain moments, but appreciated that something like this can be made at that point in time and still live on to be what it is today. So
Yeah.
definitely a powerful show, powerful in that aspect. Um, the one thing though, last thing I do want to give nod to um, are some of the supporting characters
Mm.
and the way that they helped out. And I think it goes underappreciated sometimes, but
By the way,
take.
one character that was not celebrated as much as I was hoping or expecting was I'm drawing a blank. What's the butler's name?
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey. He didn't have a moment, did he, in the reunion episode?
Yeah, his moment was very short when they went
Yeah.
back to the candidates to the light to them.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't about Jeffrey. It was about that, you know, De La Ghetto, you know. But anyway, that was a dope
Yeah,
moment.
yeah,
That's his one
yeah,
iconic moment, so it's cool. But I would have loved to. I was just curious about like, why did they pick a British butler? Or is it because butlers are often British? And like, how about we talk about, was that the first time a lot of people witnessed a black person that was not American, that was British? You know, like, I don't
hmm
know. I was just curious about that. But anyway, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I don't know, that would have been interesting to research on, like how that felt for him
Yeah.
being a British actor at that time, or if he was even a British actor. Maybe he's faking. But anyway, uh,
I think he is British though. Yeah, right.
He probably
British.
is. I'm joking, but no, to the support. Yeah, that's him being a supporting character. That's one. But Ashley, right? And in my going back to the characters, right? I'm highlighting Ashley because I feel like there is a lot that could have been done with her character in today's world, right? Where
a lot. If Fresh Prince was around 2020, Ashley would have such a huge like weight on her shoulders to connect to the youth, to connect to the yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah, but the one thing I appreciate about her character is, well, for one, her outfits are also dope. If you go back, and her outfits are more 90 female outfits than Hillary's were.
Hillary was very like 90210, like sophisticated LA, but it was niche in that way, yeah.
So, and when we was revisiting outfits, I was like, damn, I actually got some like there was some fly moments when I was like, she low key got some of the flyest hip hop gear in the show, and we just didn't really pay attention to that. So yeah, I think that's one gem moment that you feel like I want to definitely go back and look at her outfits.
Yep. She has some dope outfits, man. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna post one right here for right here. One moment with her, but yeah, I think for sure she had some dope outfits.
Cool. Nice. Well, I think that's a wrap on episode 1. This deep dive into the Fresh Prince reunion episode and Fresh Prince, and yeah, man, that was really fun, dude. And that's to kick it off. That was to kick off the podcast. It was perfect that we started with Fresh Prince, the most probably iconic thing coming out of the 90s as far as TV goes. And yeah, to our listeners, thanks for tuning in. And this is what you can expect more of us going back and revisiting pop culture moments of the past and seeing it with modern takes and modern eyes, and trying to place it in today's context, and celebrating how much it has influenced us. So yeah, that was good, man. That was really good.
Yeah, for sure. So stay tuned, everybody. I hope you look forward to more episodes from Nostalgia Unrequited.
All right, guys. Peace.